Welcome, folks. It's been a long 2 months. Feels like a millennium to me. But welcome back once again to Maniacal Music Musings. Because you all know me. Like a man from Milwaukee, we've been thinking of you all this whole time. I've been getting jiggy with it in Miami. That's just how I do. Looking at all the previous episodes in the Muser's Yearbook, just crying a little bit, missing this show. Like always, though, I'm hitching a ride back, so it's all good. Even the men in black couldn't stop me from being here, and trust me, they wanted to. But I'm returning to look at you once again, so don't say nothing, because Big Jaimie Style is back, and it ain't going nowhere anytime soon. So, where's the love, y'all? Because Maniacal Music Musings is back, and I know you're saying, wait a minute, where's that slightly less good-looking co-host of yours who's usually on the screen with you? Well, you guys know Chancy. He always said he liked to play in the abyss, and this time the abyss sucked him in, and he couldn't get back out again. I just don't know what to tell you. I haven't heard from him in a couple months, and he got stuck into he's in the abyss somewhere. Hopefully he'll find his way out someday. But the good news is I couldn't come back without a co-host because no one wants to hear me talk for an hour. So I couldn't go back without a co-host, and ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the co-host I decided to find, and she reluctantly agreed because I felt we need some feminine energy on the show. And I can't even say her name the way I want to for the certain reasons on this episode, but ladies and gentlemen, Jaimie Fuller, our new co-host of Maniacal Music Musings.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm super glad to be here. I'm sad that Chancy got lost in the abyss, man. I mean, we were kind of wondering there for a minute what was going to happen, and he'll be back soon. We'll take care of things in the meantime. We got this. But I'm here for it. I'm excited. One-time guest and mouthy bastard from Bracket Bastard. So I'm here to do something different and have some fun, listen to music, and rip it apart.
Yes. PG, Jaimie, PG. But hell, like I said, things slip. But folks, and of course, we couldn't do a muser show without a guest. I mean, we could have, but what fun is that? So, introducing for the first time in 2 months, the first guest I decided to come with, Miss Megan Murphy, or as she's better well known on YouTube, Aunt Nene.
Hey guys.
Welcome, Meg.
How you
Welcome,
doing?
Megan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
Our pleasure.
Welcome. It's going to be fun.
So, why don't you tell our audience what exactly it is you do on YouTube?
Well, I have a YouTube show for kids. It's called The Aunt Nene Show. It's a variety show for kids ages 8 years old and younger, around 4 or 5 years old to 8 years old. It's the best age range for the show. But anyway, it's a variety show. It has songs, stories, jokes, there's educational content, and more. Like sometimes we go to different destinations. Like we had Aunt Nene goes to the beach and Aunt Nene goes to Central Park. Because I actually went to New York and filmed an episode in Central Park last year. Anyway, I'm working with 2 different producers now. Their names are Kevin and Hugo. They are helping me to make the show bigger and better than it has been, than it was in the beginning. We're bringing on guest stars. That's a new thing for us. Just like I'm a guest on your show, we're having people as guests on my show.
I saw that. I think I recognize some of the names from people I know as other podcasters. So
yeah,
but that's a good thing. I mean, guests are definitely a way to help your show expand and grow. Always. So that's awesome. And other people have other things to add to shows too. They have knowledge that maybe specialize in something that you don't specialize in. I know I don't specialize in a lot. So that's why my other show is all guests, for God's sake. So because I don't specialize in much, but so. And yes, Kevin reached out. He's like, I have a guest for your show. And I'm like, okay, I'm down for that always. You know that. And he's like, she's a kid performer on YouTube. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't say no to anything usually. So I'm down. Let's have fun with it. But then Well, I'll let you tell them what album you wanted to bring and why you wanted to bring it
Oh,
before I go into it.
only my favorite album of all time that I know every song, every lyric by heart. It's Hanson, Middle of Nowhere. It's their first studio album, but not their first ever album, because before they got signed with the studio in 1997, when they made Middle of Nowhere, they produced a couple more albums independently before that, when the youngest one, Zach, was 9 years old. He sang Bop at 9 years old. And then they remade the song Bop again on the studio album in 1997, when they were, all I remember is the youngest one's age. I don't remember the others. I think Zach was 11, Taylor was 14, and
I believe
Isaac,
that's right.
the oldest, was 16.
Yeah. Well, you could definitely tell the youngest one didn't go through puberty at that point yet, because his voice is still very feminine sounding.
Actually, the one who sings the main vocals on Bop is this one. That's Taylor. He's the middle brother.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, geez. Because I swear to God, when I first saw that video on MTV back in the 90s, I thought it was three girls singing. The long hair and everything else. I thought it was three
Even I
girls singing.
thought that when it first came out.
But I mean, I was a kid, so what do I know? And Harley says she loves your Hanson shirt, so there you go.
Thank you.
And my good friend Rena from Better Call Day podcast says, yeah, it's crazy. They're crazy 9 years old being able to
Zach was
sing
9
like
years
that.
old.
Just to think about in general when this album came out, where I was, and then where they were at their ages. I mean, because I was in middle school when it came out, so I was around Taylor's age. So it's like they went through a lot at a young age for a studio album. Like, that's crazy.
You can
That's
tell.
awesome.
You can tell throughout from the beginning of the album to the end of the album of Middle of Nowhere, Taylor's voice was changing, like he was going through puberty. So in the beginning, it's really high, and then by the last song, it started at a lower pitch a little bit.
It did. You can tell, and I'll get into that a little more when I get to my review of the album. But as my new co-host, Jaimie, I will let you go first on this one and tell us what you thought of the album.
What I thought of the album? I mean,
Yes.
I'm giving them all, like, out of a 5-star ranking, I'm gonna give it a 4. I'm gonna give it a 4 because there was a lot of great songs on there. There's a lot of them I would jam out to, a lot of them that my friends and I, honestly, to this day, gonna be 40 this year, and I'm still singing some of these songs, like Where's the Love and all that stuff. Like, when I think of that album, I don't think of Bop right away. Like, I think of a couple different songs. So for me, it's not just the music, because the music wasn't bad. They did a pretty dang good job, but it's more of the memories attached to it too. So it's 4 out of 5 stars for me.
I feel exactly the same way about the memories attached to it.
Yeah, I mean, I knew of Bop. I can't honestly say I don't ever think I listened to the whole CD before this episode. I don't think I ever listened to the whole CD. I just discovered yesterday that they're still doing music. I thought they did this album and then kind of scurried off into normalcy. Like, I didn't think they were still doing music. So it's kind of a shock to me, and part of me wants to go check out their newer stuff and just see what it's like. But I don't know. Part of me is hesitant on that as well. But I was pleasantly. I mean, when I first was told by Kevin that you wanted to bring Hanson, I'm like, it's never been brought on. Sure. I was like, grinning and bearing it, but I was pleasantly surprised about how much I actually liked the album as a whole. And of course, when Bop came on, it was just childhood memories. One of the most useless music videos of all time of them just skateboarding and singing, but it is what it is. And literally, yeah, it brought back childhood memories, basically. It was just one of those songs, and I mean, it sucks. Like most kid performers, they got taken advantage of by the record label, and the record label wouldn't let them put anything new out for basically the 4 or 5 years they were with them. That's why they didn't do music until they got pretty much into their 20s again. But
Mhm.
I think I read like they wrote 90 songs or something like that, but the record label wouldn't let them put any of them out because they didn't think they could market new material. So
Hmm.
it's sad. It's just another example of record labels taking advantage of young kids and then not letting them have artistic freedom, which on the show we're against that. So that's off though to making me listen to Hanson and actually making me enjoy it somewhat. So
Mhm.
I can't say I ever thought anybody would ever do that. So I like to be surprised. I like to be surprised. What can I say? And yes, Serena, music memories are the best, and that's what this show is all about. Me and Chancy always brought a lot of our childhood memories in the show, and I'm sure Jamie's going to have a lot of childhood memories coming up in the next few months. So we'll see. But and apparently Hanson was Harley's first concert.
Oh, I've never been to a concert. I like if anybody wanted to get me the best gift, the best present ever, would be tickets to a Hanson concert because they still have concerts.
Yeah,
I'm sure they
very
do.
true. I have to say, out of the I don't know how many concerts I've been to, that's one I have not been to. I have not.
Mhm.
It
Me
is
neither.
I
tempting. I've been to the Moffats back in the day. If anybody
Mhm.
knows who the Moffats are, they were like the low level underneath like Hanson and all them free stage at the state fair kind of guys. And it was good music, dang it. So maybe I should throw Hanson in there. I did some 98 degrees before, I won't lie.
Mhm.
they're about to sing a little Hanson in my book, but yeah, I mean Hanson for first concert, I could have done that. I mean, better than Smash Mouth who was off my first concert, and God, they were horrible. So
Mhm.
yeah, but Smash Mouth was garbage. Don't shake your head at me, Jamie. They were garbage. They were straight garbage. We couldn't even stay
Just
to the.
saying, oh no, like that sucks for your first concert. Like your
Uh,
experience
uh,
for a first concert shouldn't suck.
it does. There was no opening band. It took forever for them to hit the stage, even. And it was literally my whole sixth grade class, and everybody left before they did the good songs because the opening songs were just so horrible. But I mean, didn't even hear All Star, didn't hear uh, Believer, didn't hear Walking in the Sun, didn't hear any of the good songs from that first album. Like literally, it was just all songs nobody knew, and everybody just left. Like everybody's like, you could hear all my friends around me. You could hear them asking their parents, "Can we go?" It was just
Mhm.
horrible. But now comes the fun part, because Megan, what are your top 5 songs off of Hanson's album? I love asking guests this question because it's always
Okay.
like a debate.
Do I have to go in order from 1 to 5, like rank them? Or can I
I
go
mean,
in no particular order?
you can do it however you like. I myself usually go from 5 to 1 just because I like to build suspense, but that's me. So you can do it whichever way you like.
Okay. I can't decide which is number 1 and number 2, and so I'm just gonna say in no particular order, just here's the 5 songs in general. Um, I'll start with one called Yearbook. Is where did Johnny go? I just realized when I was listening to it today, he's probably talking about Johnny took his own life. Where did
Possibly.
Johnny go? But he never says for sure. So I just thought, oh my gosh, what if that's what he meant? But first of all, it's got a great musical hook. Where did Johnny go? It says picture unavailable right here. Mama said it makes you mad to know somebody knows. There's a lion in your silence. Anyway, where did Johnny go? But it
Very well done, actually. Very well done. I was impressed by that.
for for a group of teenagers to write that song, it's a very serious subject to write about. It's a very dark subject to write about. It's probably the darkest song on the album. Right, there was this kid at school. Where did he
Yeah.
go? There says it says picture unavailable right here in the yearbook. So anyway, next I'll do number 4, Man from Milwaukee. It's the hidden track on the album. It's the craziest and wackiest song on the album, I think. Talks about I'm sitting on a bench. There's a man with a big toe, bald man talking. I don't know. I can't think of it right now.
Yellow walkie-talkie.
On a yellow walkie-talkie, he's talking to Mars. You might think that I'm wacky. He says they'll come get him someday. It's just crazy and creative, and you can tell it was written by kids, but like it's good. I think it's just a fun song for the sake of fun. Next one is I Will Come to You is number 3. It's a very, like, that's what I want somebody to say to me. It's like, if you have no light to guide you and no one to walk beside you, I will come to you. Oh, I will come to you. Means they'll come to you and help you if you need them. And I think it's just, all of these songs I think are great musically. Like, the melody is amazing in that song.
That's kind of what surprised me about the album is like I was surprised by how well put together a lot of the songs were. I didn't expect it. I thought they were all gonna be like bop.
Yeah. The next one is Weird, which is track number 3 on the album. It's the one that actually won a Grammy for Best Song of the Year, the year that the single came out. It talks about how when you feel like you don't fit in, or you feel like you're a misfit, or you feel like you're weird or strange, when you live in a cookie cutter world, being different is a sin, 'cause you don't stand out, but you don't fit in. Weird. It's just talks. It's an emotion that a lot of young people go through when they're coming of age, I think. So that's probably why it won the Grammy. So for the lyrics. And surprise, number 1 is Bop, because it's not just a silly song to skateboard to. It actually, if you listen to the lyrics, means something. It says, oh gosh, I can't think how it starts now. But anyway, you have so many relationships in this life, only 1 or 2 will last. You go through all the pain and strife, then you turn your back and they're gone so fast. So hold on to the ones who really care, 'cause in the end, they'll be the only ones there. When you get old and start losing your hair, can you tell me who will still care? And then it goes, in an bop, you're gone. In an bop, an bop is a precious moment with a loved one or someone you care about that you can never get back once it's gone.
Yeah, I mean, the lyrics in it are decent. I did kind of listen to it a couple times at work yesterday to kind of like get the lyrics, and actually read the lyrics on Spotify as I'm like listening to it just to make sure I understood the song more than I did when I was a kid, and it definitely has meaning. I just the music video sticks in my head for all eternity.
You can understand what they're saying half the time when they're singing it. Yeah. You have to look at the liner notes. The lyrics.
I had that problem with another album on this show tonight, but I'll get to that later.
Yeah. Me too.
But yes. And oh damn, Rena. Apparently Michael Jackson was her first concert. Nothing beats that. I mean, maybe Prince, but nothing beats that.
Okay, like, do you want us to roll out the red carpet for you too? Jeez, gosh. Look at you, pants. Michael Jackson. How does any concert after that compare?
I know. It's like
I don't know how it could. I really don't know. I mean, like I said, maybe
Hanson
Prince.
was compared to the Jackson 5 when they first became famous.
I honestly can hear that. I can hear that and see that because I can kind of hear like they almost sound like Michael singing slightly, like the kid voice type thing. But I mean, they do not have his
Of course,
voice. I mean,
Michael
God no.
Jackson is much, much more, much better.
Oh God, I mean, it's the king of pop. You can't. I mean, you can't compare. But Jaimie, why don't you tell us your top 5 while I go check and make sure my dogs didn't get loose in the basement?
Oh boy. All right. Well, I mean, okay, so I had to almost for this album give honorable mentions besides the top 5 because they're all that good. I mean, this, like everybody's been saying, there this album is a lot deeper than people actually gave thought to in the very beginning. Like you're saying, Mbop, there's a lot more meaning to it. Surprisingly, Mbop is absolutely nowhere on my list. Like not on my
Fine.
top 5, not my my honorable mentions though are Lucy, Madeline, and Man from Milwaukee because I really enjoyed those songs, but I'm just like the other ones that come to my mind when I hear this album are ones that I played over and over and over. So, like number 5, I Will Come to You because I thought that was a really good one. There's a lot of friends that I was there for a lot, so I just like we would listen to these albums. Well, I mean, back then we listened to them on cassettes. I won't lie. So, like, then when we had to look at the lyrics, we had to like unfold everything like an accordion to be able to read your lyrics that are like printed like this big on the thing. But I'm down for that. I learned that Hanson album right away, and as soon as the CD player came out and everything, I remember my aunt thinking she was like the shiz because she got me a CD of Hanson, and I was pretty excited for that. So I won't lie, that one was fun. Number 4, that one's Yearbook. I really did enjoy that a lot. I always knew it was either an abrupt move out or something happened. The kid's just gone, like maybe gone to juvie, gone somewhere he shouldn't be, or gone like because I know a lot of my friends moved a lot over the years, or did he kill himself? But then you think about it, like they wrote that song between the ages of 11 and 16, and when I was reading up on this album, they never performed that song live until 2007. I would have probably been very disappointed going to their concerts to not hear that song, especially if I would have went back to
Yep.
their timing. So I don't know. If you missed it, Jeremy, I said number 5 is I Will Come to You. Number 4 is
I heard everything.
Okay, I didn't know if you heard me. Okay, so
I kept the headset on.
he is Speechless. Had fun with that song. Number 2, it's weird. I mean, that I was always the outcast. I was always somebody different, someone class clown, someone that just wasn't your super popular, super athletic person. I always said weird is like the side effect of being awesome, just like Calvin and Hobbes. My thing is weird on that song. I felt like these kids are my age, but they're hitting all of the same deep meanings and same with lyrics and really kind of hitting it on the right on the dot. But the number one song, especially because me and my friend, as soon as I heard what your album choice was, Megan, I got a hold of one of my friends and said, "Girl, we have to do this album review." And guess which one I'm doing first? She goes, "What, Mike Hansen?" She goes, "Where's the love?" She calls me singing it. So this is just how this works. That song for me is hands down the best. It's catchy, gets stuck in your head. Isaac comes out of the middle of nowhere
Yeah.
and like, actually has a slamming part in that song. So I'm like, okay, they may have reached number 2 on the billboards, knocking out Spice Girls and stuff like that. But then like, Where's the Love came out. I want to say what, second or third, single wise. I'm not sure. I couldn't remember which order it was, but I just thought that was great that song just kind of caught me off guard, especially for Isaac's part. And one thing I thought was kind of dumb and fun all in one is May 6th is Hanson Day, declared by the Oklahoma governor. Just thought I'd let you know that.
Wow. Because that's where they're from.
Well, yeah, but I'm just like, if I get famous, I don't know if my town will give me a day or not. And I'm not sure what day I'd want them to give me anyways. But I just thought that was cool. It's like Hanson Day. Now I'm going to go around singing Mbop on May 6th just to annoy people. I like that song, but that made it nowhere on my list. Nowhere. Just because that album was so flipping good. I don't care what anybody says. 4 out of 5 freaking stars, y'all.
Yeah, like I said, I was pleasantly surprised by this album, having never listened to the whole thing. I mean, heck, I was 9 years old when this album came out, so I don't think I really listened to any full CDs at that point. It was just what was on MTV and the radio. So it's just one of those things. But I did have an honorable mention as well. Somehow I seem to like their love songs more than anything. But my honorable mention was Thinking of You, because it just was it was a really good love song. It was like a really good 90s love song, basically. My number 5 was Where's the Love, because it was a fun, upbeat song. And I have no recollection of ever hearing it. I mean, I may have, but I have no recollection of it. And here's the surprising part. I put Bob at number 4 because it is not the best song on this record by any dang means. So I was not going to put it higher than that. It's a good, catchy song. It's definitely, I mean, I have brackets made up for every year for the billboards. And it's definitely on 97's billboard, that's for sure. But it's on the top. It's definitely not the top song on this album. My number 3 was Look at You, because the guitar in that song was incredible, which that surprised throughout this whole CD, the guitar kept amazing me. I was like,
it's like,
really?
Get it, Isaac. Yeah.
And I love the part when Zach has a solo and he goes, "Turn me loose like a one-eyed goose. Yeah, baby."
I mean, it's you could tell they had fun doing this. This isn't like any type of Joe Jackson thing where he's forcing his kids to perform just to try to get them famous. Like, they actually enjoy doing it fully. So it's great. It really is. It was really great to actually hear them having fun on the album. My number 2 was Yearbook, because I mean, I didn't put any kind of connection to what you mentioned earlier about Yearbook, and it makes sense. It makes sense what you said. It really does. But the song kind of reminded me of like an 80s love ballad, like Guns N' Roses or like Motley Crue style. Like, that's kind of like the feeling I was getting off it originally. Like, I almost felt like they were singing it from like a girl's perspective about a guy named Johnny. But I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Maybe someday they'll do an interview about like their true meaning behind that song. But I really just don't know. But my number 1, and being the supposed hidden track, if it was actually back in the old CD days, Man from Milwaukee was my favorite song because it was just so catchy and so freaking good. It just blew me away. Like, I actually had fun with it, and it was just so amazing. Like, I didn't put a lot of the songs in the CD into my Spotify like list just because I am picky about that. But Man from Milwaukee, I 100% put on my Spotify list. I'm like, yep, that's definitely going in there.
I feel like it's a man they met on the road one day. Like, that's like just some homeless guy or dude on the street, like making his money and like talking crazy with the yellow walkie-talkie. Like, just it's like they grabbed little pieces of their road trips and their vacations or whatever they did and like made little like songs out of it, or experiences from school with Yearbook and all that. But that Man from Milwaukee that one's a good one.
I almost feel like it. I'm like, is this a Weird Al song I'm hearing? Like, what is this? Like, I almost thought like, did Weird Al write this and they threw it on the album for some giggles? But I don't know. It was Man from Milwaukee was a really, really good song. So I'm like, all right, it's number 1. It's because Yearbook would have been number 1 if I didn't hear that, but it pushed Yearbook down a little bit. So, but overall, good choice for CD. I honestly was not expecting to be able to say that in this show when I first heard Hanson, but once again, it's not the first time happening in the show. It won't be the last. I was utterly surprised by an album I thought I would not like and ended up liking. So it's always a good surprise to have in this show. Because it goes the other way sometimes too. But it's definitely a good surprise to have in this show. So well done, Megan.
Well, good. I'm glad to have educated you a little bit on the awesomeness that is Hanson.
And I kind of want to go check out their newer stuff and see what they're doing. I mean, I know it's funny because I was reading like that one of them got into a lot of trouble for his Pinterest account, like being very radical. Like I'm not going to go into detail, but he got in a lot of
I
trouble
don't know
for it.
anything about that. I haven't kept
Oh,
up with them the last 20 years or so.
apparently one of
I'm
them is
not
very right
familiar
wing.
with a lot of
Yeah,
their
I like to.
more recent music.
Oh, I mean, when it's an artist, I didn't think it continued past the '90s. I had to look in and be like, okay, there has to be some controversy here in the last 30 years. There has to be,
Mm,
and I wasn't disappointed, but it wasn't anything too shocking or scandalous, at least. So, again, there's been a lot of worse artists in the '90s that did things. So,
mm.
but Jaimie, what album did you want to bring to your first show as co-host, and why? Why? I thought I got rid of Chancy's freaking music taste, for God's sakes.
And you far from get rid of it. Far from it. I have to say, I had a really hard time because and that was another reason why I called my girlfriend and said, "Hey, I don't know what album to choose. Like, you're lucky I didn't choose La Bouche. Okay, I about did. Be My Lover and all that stuff, Jeremy. Don't even start with me. I would have done it. But I chose Green Day's Nimrod in honor of my friend Kendra, who's no longer with us. She's a huge Green Day fan. This album caught me off guard because I've always enjoyed Green Day and some of the alternative music that was going on MTV at the time. But this album was a little different than their normal. And going over a lot of their stuff, their information from their past, just reminded me of my things from back when I was a part of the music scene in school, and we talked about the how easy it was to learn. Like some of my friends on the guitar learning Green Day, their 3 chord structure. This album was an attempt at changing that, but this wasn't an album like done on purpose. This was an album that accidentally came together because they took a break on tour in '96, and all of these songs are supposed to be standalone, and all of a sudden it becomes their 5th album. So for me, that's what I find to be kind of interesting, is that you can tell they're separate songs and they're separated in a sense, but yet when you put it all together, it kind of made some sense. So I caught myself listening to the CD quite a bit growing up. And I guess originally there was 30 songs and it narrowed it down to 18. So I'm kind of glad because that made my top 5 a little bit easier to deal with. Because my honorable mention is Good Riddance. It's not even on the top 5. I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. I graduated in 2003, so my thing is that dang song was played so many times that, like, I get it. It's just you're sad your friend's leaving, so let's play this song. Like, no, let's not, and say we did. We have many other songs that are great. So my top 5, um,
Not
honestly,
yet.
was gonna be what?
Don't do your top 5 yet.
Oh, we're not doing top 5 yet.
No, reviews
Oh, we gotta
first.
do our little reviews. Oh, my bad. So yeah, my thing is that I gave Hanson the 4-star, and I gave this album 3.5.
Definitely agree with that. But Megan, as the guest, what did you think of Nimrod?
Well, growing up, although I did own this album, I found evidence that I actually owned it. I found the empty CD case, but I couldn't find my CD. But I listened to it on YouTube. Anyway, um, I only remember a few songs from this album. Probably the most memorable was Time of Your Life. I thought Green Day it wasn't my favorite album when I was growing up. Um, Me and my friend used to listen to Green Day, and I kind of liked the CD, and so she decided one day that she didn't want the CD anymore, and so she gave it to me. And I listened to it today, and I thought that Green Day was what do you say when like they're the first person that's ever done it that way?
Original?
Or yes. Brain fart. I couldn't remember the word for that. But yes, they were original and nobody had ever done it like they did it before them. And yeah, I thought it was great. I give it a let's see. Well, I'm not going to give it a ranking, but it was great.
Yes. Let's see. When you told me you wanted to bring Green Day, I was like, oh God, not again. Not this is the same thing Chance used to do to me all the time with bands I can't really stand. I mean, what the heck's his name? Bobby Joe or what's
Billy
the lead
Joel.
singer?
Billy,
Billy Joe.
Billy Joel.
Whatever.
Billy Joe.
What
Billy
whatever.
Joel.
I was half right, but
You're half there.
I can't stand his voice. His voice annoys me to no end. He looks like an emo punk who never grew up past 13. So
You're really lucky I didn't do the American Idiot album because that's more like
I'm more familiar with that one though.
Me too. I'm more familiar with that one. I grew up. I was in high school when that one came out, so I knew that album back and forth. But Nimrod, I mean, I know Chancy brought Dookie on at one point, and Dookie is definitely a better album than Nimrod is by far. You couldn't understand half what they're saying was my biggest problem with it. I had to look at the lyrics for a lot of the songs, and it's just it was so long. Even though they were short songs, it was so long and so many songs. I was like, oh my God. I found I found 5 with an honorable mention, but I would never. There's a couple songs in here I put in my list, but I would never really listen to this album again because it's just no. There are so many better albums that came out in '97 than this album. My God.
I know, but there's so many worse ones that I was gonna pick. So you'd be lucky.
I would have rather had the I'm your lover. Like I would have rocked the heck out to that song all day long. So
whatever.
But well, Jaimie, now you can do your top 5. The time has come.
Now I can. So here's the thing. My number 5 was going to be Nice Guys Finish Last, but I'm just kidding. I changed my mind at the last minute. It's Last Ride. It has absolutely no words to it, and I don't care. I just really, really like the tune. Like, I catch myself just wanting to drive down the road, just chilling to it. Just chilling. Number 4, Uptight. I caught myself the other night after listening to or knowing I'm going to be listening to the album, knowing I'm going to. Caught myself in bed, not able to sleep singing that song, and that's probably the worst thing to do when you can't sleep. So, then I started trying to think of the other songs, and I got excited. So number 3, Hitchin' a Ride. I have way too much fun with that song. Just the upbeat, the lyrics, just everything to it. Hitchin' a Ride is just, I have too much fun. King for a Day, though, is my number 2. I really struggled with this one, thinking it might be my number 1. I played it quite a bit with my friends just to mess around with them, and just not that my friends didn't ever care about this stuff, but they thought it was hilarious that, like, just talking about the kid dressing up in his mom's clothes when she was gone, just stuff like that, like the weirdest album of randomness to come together. But since that was not my number 1, I decided number 1 is The Grouch on the Couch for Jaimie. I'm just gonna keep mine simple today.
Well, you'll see when I get to mine. But Megan, what were your top 5 for a Green Day?
Well, I don't have them ranked from 1 to 5, but the 5 best songs for me were nice in no particular order. Nice Guys Finish Last, Scattered, Last Ride, because I like that one because it was instrumental, and I thought that was brilliant, because very rarely do you see that on a rock and roll album. And then I liked King for a Day, but the one that I remember the most was Time of Your Life. That's one that I actually know well, and I knew it well before I listened to the album again today. It's something unpredictable, but in the end, that's right. I hope you had the time of your life. I just love that. That's my favorite one.
Well, before I get to my top 5 and I will mention, I'm gonna need to light a cig. And since we're in '97, Mr. Mackey's gonna say, "Don't smoke, kids. It's bad, okay?" But
As you are. It was back then. It was the Dare Dog.
Yeah.
Dare
so
not do drugs.
actually,
Yeah,
they statistically
Mr.
prove
Nimrod.
they
Yes.
statistically prove that Dare made more kids try things than not try things. But
I mean,
um,
it dared me to try it, but it dared me not to at the same time. I was just like, I was uninterested in that conversation back then.
yeah, it was pointless. But I did. The Grouch was my honorable mention. It was a fun song, and I felt like a Grouch listening to the song because I hated pretty much most of it. So, but my number 5 was All the Time because it was one of the more punk sounding songs. And if I'm listening to Green Day, I want punk. So that's one thing I like about Dookie is it's kind of like a very punk origin album. But my number 4 was Walking Alone because that I could dig that song. I can get along with that song a lot. So I got that one and it went well. My number 3, for a special reason, was Hitching a Ride because the bass and the drums in the beginning was amazing, even though it sounds like they stole from Green Jelly Serial Killer.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
I'm gonna have to listen to that now, but okay.
and I only had that on top of my head because I had Serial Killer come on my Spotify random list the other day, like, and I had that in my head still, and I heard the bass. I'm like, wait a minute, this sounds familiar. But my number 2 was Good Riddance because I mean it's the one song of this album I knew already, and I didn't even know Green Day did it. Honestly, if I really thought about it, maybe I could have pointed it out, but I don't think I ever really knew 100% it was a Green Day song. But Good Riddance, Time of Your Life is classic, and it's overplayed. It's been in so many movies, and it's in so many graduations and everything else. But it's a good song still. My number 1 song though, and
You
this
just brought
this
back memories of that song playing at my middle school 8th grade graduation.
yep, exactly.
Yes, that was like everybody's graduation songs. Everybody's like, "Goodbye, I'm
Yeah,
gonna miss you." But I mean, it's
but
not a bad song for that, I guess.
I mean, it's been done ironically in some like movies too, though, where like with like serial killer type themes, and it's hilarious, like when they do it that way. But my number 1 song was Platypus, "I Hate You," because that I mean, the whole song's hilarious, but that line, "It brings me pleasure just to know you're going to die." I was like, oh my god, I love that lyric, and I and I'm like, Chancy would have so much to say about this song. He would have so much to say about this song. So I immediately had to put that on number 1 because like this song's so funny. I actually replayed it a couple times. I'm like, this song's very well written. I actually appreciate the lyricism behind this song, but it's overall, if I had to rate this whole album, maybe 2 out of 5 stars. Maybe if I'm being generous, if I'm in a good mood that day. But on any other day, I'm in a bad mood. It might get
just
like a 1.
just to think there was 30 songs to begin with, and they wired it down to what, 18 or something. So it's like they could have given you a lot more to annoy you.
They should have wired it
They
down to about 9.
had, Time of Silence on their album before another song comes on. So I think back then that was like a thing, especially with like cassettes and CDs, like the silence and then finding the hidden song, the hidden track.
Yeah, I mean, there's I forget what album it was. I was researching some album a while back, and there was like 20 minutes of silence before you find the hidden track. Like, and I remember CDs like that when I was in middle school. That like rock albums that where I'd have to press fast forward on the freaking CD player for like 20 minutes to get to the exact point where that's. I think Korn did it in one of their albums where like there's a hidden song like 20 minutes into the last song, and I'm pretty sure Twisted did it too on one of their albums. But it's a lot of artists are doing it back then just for like to make there's almost like the hidden surprise, like when you have to watch, like in Marvel movies, when you stay to the end of the credits to see the end scene. But it was kind of like the hidden surprise, basically. But it was a cool '90s thing. So you can't do it anymore because now everything's on Spotify and it's just there. There's no silence. So unless they, well, actually that's true. Korn still does it because they put it on the same track as the last one, so it's just the end of the track. So kind of does it. It works still, but all right. Well, I guess it's time to get to our final album of the night, and yeah, this album. I well, let me start off by saying, when Megan wanted to bring Hanson, I'm like, all right, 97. I'm like, we've done a few 97 97 episodes on this show because it's a huge year for music. It really was. And I'm looking through Wikipedia, all the albums released in 97. I'm like, I've brought like 5 or 6 of these. Chancy's brought like 5 or 6 of these. Guests have brought 2 or 3 of them. I'm like, what do I want to bring? I had so many ideas of ones I haven't brought yet that I wanted to bring. But then I found out we were going to do the show PG, and I'm like, all right, I can't bring a lot of the ones I want to bring then because it's not going to go well with if any child ever happens to check out the show. It would not be appropriate. So I have my own kids, so I try not to be a bad influence. I just skip over my music a lot with my kids in the car. But so I was like, all right, you know what? If I'm gonna do PG, then I am gonna go PG with, one of my good friend Harvey Laguerre's favorite albums ever made. I'm like, I'm gonna go with the most PG
You can
rapper ever.
say it.
Let's go Will Smith's Big Willie Style. Because it was, you want to talk about an album I actually owned in 97. It was an album I owned in 97 and I listened to on repeat playing basketball many, many summer days. It was one of my favorite albums ever, and who doesn't love when the Fresh Prince decided to go back to rapping solo without DJ Jazzy Jeff? Which they actually touch on that in the album too, which I love. And I was not disappointed today because there was actually a lot of tracks I didn't remember on this album, and I was very amused with all the skits that we would skip over when we were kids. Because when you're 9 years old, you don't want to hear skits on that CD. You want to go to the music. So, but it had this album had a lot of hits on it for the late 90s, and a lot of lesser known hits. That's one thing I figured out about Will Smith doing this show is there's a lot of lesser known albums and lesser known hits he did that nobody really talks about, but they're incredible. His whole Lost and Found album I think it was the last album he ever put out in like 2003. The whole album's incredible and no one ever talks about it. It's really a shame. I'll have to bring it out eventually. When we did our Will Smith bracket a couple years ago, I discovered a lot of great songs off it. But I'm like, all right, Big Willie Style's got to be the album on this one. It's got to be. But and for my good friend Harvey, I would always bring Will Smith to the show. But Megan, what did you think of Big Willie Style?
Well, when Kevin told me the name of the album that I was going to be listening to, I thought at first that I had never heard of it before, but then I listened to the songs, and I did actually know a lot of the songs because it has Getting Jiggy With It, Just the Two of Us, Men in Black. Those were the only 3 songs I knew before I listened to it again yesterday. But those are the 3 songs that I like the best, and I have to say that hip hop was not my favorite to listen to growing up. So I'm just not as familiar with a lot of the hip hop music that's out there nowadays.
Yeah.
But
See,
I did
was
enjoy
the same
some
way.
of the songs on this album.
I was the same way, but to me as a kid, Will Smith wasn't really rap. Like he was pop. If anything, I would have categorized him as pop back in the day because he wasn't. I didn't consider him a rapper back then because I didn't know about a lot of his earlier stuff with DJ Jazzy Jeff. I just knew about like this and Millennium. So I never really like listened to his real rap music they put out in the early 90s, late 80s, and those are great. Those are great, but
I think with this album, he probably like crossed the line between rap and pop music because you're right. A lot of those songs are more like catchy pop sounding tunes rather than rap.
Yeah, well, he even says
a
on the album.
Rap genre.
Yeah.
I mean, he even said in the album at one point, he's like, I had to go I want to be an actor to make money, and he's like, but I had to show you all I still have my foot in the game, and that's why I decided to put this album out, is to show that I still have it and I can still do it. And he wasn't kidding. I mean, he some of the tracks in this are still purely rap, but a lot of them are poppier. But I mean, it worked for him. Who's going to complain? It worked. He made money off it. He got popular off it, and it boosted his movies because he made theme songs for all his movies. So, But Jaimie, how'd you feel about going Big Willie Style?
Give me crap for my album ever again. I gave this a 2.5 out of 5 stars. Tell you that right now. I mean, the cool part, it was released on my sister's birthday in 1997, and I guess I enjoyed a few more songs growing up from this album than I thought I did. So that's how I based my top 5. So 2.5 out of 5 there, sir. That's how I feel about that. Okay.
I,
Not anything I was wild on, but I did it because I remember listening to this back in the day. So
yeah, you had to. It was everywhere back in the day. It was every single where. I mean, but and I did have 4 honorable mentions for this because how could you not? It's Big Will. I mean, he's an icon nowadays. I mean, it's just he's an amazing man. But my first honorable mention was "Don't Say Nothing" because it's kind of like a message he puts out in a lot of his newer rap albums. I found out where like he just is trying to like portray a certain attitude towards people that want to say things about him. And "Don't Say Nothing" is kind of right along those lines. Same with my number 8. It's All Good. He had the same message in that, and same with number 7. Y'all know I like his songs that kind of have that message of like, you know who I am. Like, you want to talk, go talk. It's not gonna do nothing to me. But and funny enough, my last honorable mention was Getting Jiggy with It because it's it's a good song. It's catchy as could be, but it's not a great song, and it's very easy. Anybody could have written it, I think. And it was just like, it was almost like he's like, all right, I'm gonna write a song that can get me on MTV, that can get me awards and money, and that's gonna be the song. So, but it is what it is. My number 5 is a song I didn't think I ever heard before, even though I had this album. I think I might have skipped over it every time, and that was Candy, because some of the lyricism playing that was really good. And see, he was warning Chris Rock even back in the '90s that he could be a jawbreaker. So, I mean, and I will point out that on this album a lot, he even said like, "Don't talk about Jada, that's my girl." So, I mean, he was warning people like back then, like, "Don't talk about my wife, like, don't talk about my girl," like. So it came. He gave you 20 years warning, people. You just didn't want to listen. But my number 4 was Big Willie Style, because you got to go with the title track. It's a great song, great way to end the album. My number 3 has to be Just the Two of Us, because as a new father to begin with, and as a father in general, Just the Two of Us is just such a heart touching song. And I mean, every time I hear it, I think of Dr. Evil and Mini Me singing it. So, but have to. And my number 2 was Miami, because to me that song was the best song on this album. It's my number 2 though, for one reason. But number 2, I mean, Miami is just it's such a banging song. It's so amazing, and it made you want to go to Miami. It accomplished it. It made you want to go hang out in Miami, and I mean, I'll tell you, it doesn't live up to the song really, but it's a good song. And my number 1, because I am a paranormal podcaster, my primary show, Men in Black is my number 1, because it's also one of my favorite movies of all time. Because even before I got into the whole alien paranormal conspiracy thing, the Men in Black movie made me think, like, is this based on something real? And lo and behold, I wasn't wrong. So, it is what it is. And it's Will Smith in a video dancing with the alien. I mean, come on. What 9-year-old doesn't love that? It's awesome. And I think I saw Men in Black in theaters like 5 times when I was a kid. So I love those movies. So I had to put it as my number 1. Had to. It's not as good as the theme song from the second movie, but that didn't come out till a couple albums later. So, but Megan, what were your top 5 songs off of Big Willie Style?
Let's see. Number 5 was I Loved You. It was just a good breakup song. Sounded like a breakup song to me. And
It was.
Number 4 was Men in Black, I guess, because it's just a catchy tune. Everybody knows it. When the Men in Black movie came out, everybody was singing it. It was on MTV. And then I liked Getting Jiggy with It for my number 3. Everybody used to do that dance. Getting jiggy with it. Na na
Na
na.
na 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 na. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I love that. I just love that song. And where was I? Oh, number 2, right? We're on 2. Number 2 is Chasing Forever. It was a love song to Jada, I assume.
Yep. Yes, it was, because that's when they were dating.
It's just really a beautiful song. It's a love song. And number 1 was Just the Two of Us.
It is touching.
It's such a touching relationship between a father or a parent and a child. And I don't have any of my own children yet, but I do have a nephew who is my only sibling's only child. So that kid is like my child, basically. And that's how I feel about him. It's like just the two of us. I got you, little guy.
Absolutely. That's my thing, is that song always reminds me of just like the cutest little moments with people. Though he mentioned Dr. Evil, that was kind of funny. I mean, I have to say that was good when they redid that together, but Just the Two of Us is a great song.
Mm-hmm.
It is a really good song. It's touching as could be, and I think as a kid I didn't really appreciate it because I didn't get it yet. I think it's something you get. I think it's a song you get only when you're a parent.
Yeah.
And it's cute that Jaden was on it, even though I have no idea what happened to his children. My God, they're menaces to society at this point now. But yeah, at the time Jaden was cute, but nowadays, oh God, I can't stand either of his children. But Jaimie, what were your top 5 for Mr. Smith?
Okay, well, my number 5 was Getting Jiggy with It, because we all do get jiggy with it when that dang song comes on. Every time. Number 4 was Just the Two of Us. That one was my number 4. I think it's because those two songs became so cliche for me. Same thing for Men in Black. Like I don't hate things that are popular on purpose. I can just get worn out on certain things. And I watched the ever living crap out of the Men in Black movies. So I mean, I got annoyed with the songs.
You had to.
That's nowhere on my number 5s. On my top 5 here. Number 3 is Big Willie Style. It was catchy. It was something different, something a little bit different than your like Getting Jiggy with It, Miami, and all the bumping, poppy, little cliche songs. But number 2, which I'm surprised that Jeremy didn't say anything about this song, but it's Y'all Know. Y'all Know. That's like good.
It was in my honorable mentions.
Was it? Was it? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, okay, at least it was. Then I guess I didn't catch it. I wasn't listening. I don't know, something. But that there's just something different about that song, and I don't know, it kind of reminded me of him coming from the streets and stuff like that still, and him just trying to go somewhere different with his life. So for me, I didn't mind that song as much. But number 1, though this album lasted longer in the UK and in Europe, not in the US, but in Miami. Now that's the number 1 song. That's got Miami. I mean, I hear that coming to in the club, and I'm just like instantly like just inappropriate, silly. Like the song just makes me just go like Miami high, like just all dumb. Like I have fun with this song. It makes it makes my friends and I giggle, just because it just has that effect. I don't know. I think it's just because of listening to it at the middle school dances one too many freaking times that it became just a goofy song. So that was my number 1. Just no Men in Black on there at all. None.
Like I said, the second Men in Black song is way better. 100% better, but I do appreciate the first Men in Black song for what it is, and I mean it's better than Wild Wild West at least. Come on now.
Oh, don't want to get that song stuck in my head. Why'd you have to bring that up?
Too late. It's already stuck.
God dang it! I'm gonna go to bed listening to you, Jaimie.
Even though he got some big names in the Wild Wild West song, that's the thing that killed me. Like, he got some big names in that song, like back in the 98, 99, whenever it came out. Like, he got some big names, but Men in Black still a better song than that by far. So, oh, folks, we hope the Musers did you well on our first episode back after 2 months. We took another time trip back to 97, and I'm sure we'll be back in 97 again. There's still a lot of music from 97 that has been touched, and we'll see what the guests choose to bring in the upcoming episodes. We're booked for the next 2 months, basically, so we'll see what they want to bring. I mean, it was nice to do an episode that had pretty much no metal in it for once. It's been a long time since I had one of those, so I miss you, Chancy, but metal, too much metal.
Oh, we'll bring it. Don't you worry.
I have no doubt. I have a list of metal albums. I've been accumulating albums to bring on this show since I took a hiatus, for God's sake. So I've been accumulating albums to bring because I've been discovering new music since I haven't listened to music for this show. So it's we'll see what the future holds, folks. We'll definitely see what the future holds. But we want to thank our guest Megan for coming on because it's been a pleasure having her. We had fun with you. It's been a great time.
Absolute blast.
Well, thanks, guys. It was fun.
And one last time, tell my audience where they can find you if they want to have their kids check out your show. I mean, a lot of my audience are parents. I know that. So if they want their kids to check out your show, where can they find it?
Okay. You can find the Aunt Nene show on my YouTube channel, which is my name, Megan Claire Murphy 2. That's the number 2. So that's Megan Claire Murphy 2. I'm also on Facebook under the name Megan Claire Murphy, or you can just you can see on the bottom of your screen, you can just Google Aunt Nene, and some of my videos usually pop up.
Yes, and
I just remembered, I'm also on Instagram. I just got Instagram like literally 2 days ago. Nice. My handle on Instagram is Aunt Nene Show.
Oh, there you go, folks. and I was trying to get my 1.5-month-old to watch the chicken episode a couple times because I was trying to get her to stop crying when she was waiting for feeding. But because we have chickens and she always gets carried out like in the chickens surround her car seat because they want to see like what's inside of it. They think it's food, but they always want to see what's inside. They're like, "What's that? Is that a young human? Is that a chick human? What?" But and interesting. And you have some. If those are yours, you're from the same breed of chicken we do. So that's the cool part.
But, they're my neighbor's chickens. My next door neighbor.
Okay, yeah. So they have some of the same breeds we do here. So, well, that the hawks and bears and wolves and foxes haven't taken out. But yeah. Jaimie, where can they find you for the first time on the show?
Well, I mean, I don't do that Twitter stuff hardly at all, no more, that X, whatever you want to call it. But I do have all of my socials listed on the Book of Faces. It's going to be right there under my name, Jaimie Fuller. It's got Fuller Sparks right now. So you find me, just make sure you spell my name right, and then you'll get all my information. I got Snapchat, I got Facebook. You can hit me up. I'm typically on Facebook the most, so there, and Instagram, you can find me. Find me and find out.
Well, you might have to get back on X, considering we have 102 watchers from X right now. But my X game is on point as always. But you can find both your musers on Facebook as the Uncensored, Unapologetic, and Untamed UQ Podcast Collective. Maybe not in that order. I always mess up the order. You can find us on XXBaby and the Gram as at Juggalo Bastard. And you can find us, which I might be changing that soon, folks, but I'll let you know if I do. And you can find us on TikTok as at Juggalo Bastard Podcast. I haven't uploaded anything there in a while, but I might have to get back my game on that. But I have a lot of podcasts to edit and no time with a baby, so we'll see if that happens. But you can we're also a proud member of Parapost Network, and you can check out all our lives there as well as all the previous mentioned places. And oh yeah, that's right. On Facebook, you can also check out our lives now on the page of Squatchy I'm not sure who this intelligent Sasquatch is, but he's a fan of my shows, and I decided to let him be a mascot of sorts. So he likes to stream all my things on his
He's
page.
right there.
Yes, but you can go find my stuff there too now. And until next week, we want to thank Megan for coming on, and your musers are out for tonight. Have a good one, folks.
Thank you. Have a good